live stage show coverage. I'm Sean McGinnis, and right now I am joined by Frank O'Connor from 343 Industries, here to talk to us about the recently announced Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. Frank, this is a game that's been sort of making its way through the rumor mill for a long time now, but it's finally announced. How does it feel to finally make the game official?
I mean, it feels good. It's actually been in the rumor mill longer than it's been in development, but it's good to get it out there. It's a complicated project, and we knew messaging it was going to be complicated too. But it's great to get it out there in time for the 10th anniversary, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got to be an interesting project to work on because Halo CE, it's regarded as sort of a modern classic. How have you guys approached this game to sort of like breathe new life into it while still making sure that it maintains that original sort of magic that made the game special?
Well, I mean, we approached it in two ways. One, the simplest way was just utter respect for the franchise and the inherent magic of the original Halo gameplay, and that hasn't been touched. The gameplay, the physics, and the campaign mode are completely identical to the original game because it's actually running on the original game engine with a second engine, a graphics layer running on top of it. And actually, one of the coolest features about the game is you can press the back button at any time and flip between the classic mode and the new enhanced remastered mode.
We've actually got a trailer for it running right here. Could you describe to us, call out some notable features here?
Yeah, so right now it's showing you a little bit of campaign, and you can see how the graphics have been remastered and how the animations have been redone. We're using newer character models. We switched to multiplayer here. This is Damnation, which has been rebuilt. There's a couple of levels in here that we haven't announced yet, but people with sharp eyes will figure out what they are. And as you can see, it's running in the Reach engine. That's an assassination there. That was the trickiest part. It was the hardest decision we had to make. We know a lot of people love the original gameplay, and we had to decide whether to use Reach or go back to the original. We'll explain more later, but there were a number of reasons we decided to stick with the Reach engine. And we know that's controversial, and we don't take it lightly.
Right, absolutely. Now, the ability to switch between visual modes on the fly, that seems like a really interesting feature. Was that something that was always in the design process?
Not exactly. It started off as a debug tool, so we'd be able to see. I mean, obviously, we wanted to make sure that every single pixel of gameplay was as identical as it could be, give or take silhouettes and shaders and so on. But we originally had it hidden in a menu. And the closer we got to it, the more we realized it was worth enhancing this and making it work faster and more smoothly so it could be a fan feature. And in some ways, the ultimate celebration of the anniversary, because at any time you can go back and see wistfully the kind of nostalgic feelings that you had about the original graphics engine and switch right back to the sort of 360 generation graphics.
Now, in terms of the level layout and whatnot, is it basically pixel for pixel the same as the original?
Literally, it's going to be, to all intents and purposes, identical. As I said, there will be differences. Like if you're shooting an elite with the new silhouette, very slight differences, and certainly things like vegetation growing over the rims of hills sounds like a small deal. But if you're used to taking a specific sniper shot at a specific point, you may find some slight differences there. We're not so worried about that. What we're really worried about is physics, tricks, warthog jumps, grenade tricks, that kind of thing. They're all identical. And we've used the graphics to make some improvements to the gameplay flow. So levels like the library are exactly the same as they were before, but we've put a few more visual cues and textures and lighting cues to help you navigate your way through the library, because and there's a couple other levels that were challenging back in the day, and we made some slight tweaks to make them a little more approachable.
Now, multiplayer is an area where you guys are doing a little bit more. I understand that you guys are adding the armor abilities to the multiplayer?
So the multiplayer entire runs in the Reach multiplayer engine. Everything launches from one menu seamlessly. You won't notice any difference. It'll just launch into the multiplayer lobby. So we have 7 multiplayer maps. 6 of them are traditional competitive multiplayer. One of them is Firefight, set very much in the Halo Combat Evolved universe. And yes, of course, any abilities that you have in Reach, you'll have in this game. But we're doing some stuff that we haven't announced yet, and we'll talk about later this year, but we're certainly doing stuff with matchmaking to make all of those maps feel as close to the original matchmaking feel, simplicity, for example, as possible. But some other stuff that we haven't talked about yet that'll make some of the really hardcore, vociferous complainers right now a little bit happier. We're never going to be able to make them ecstatic, but we'll do our best.
Of course. Now, At the Microsoft press conference a couple of days ago, you guys announced Halo 4. You guys ran a teaser trailer, and I believe you brought that by. It's the same trailer that was shown, but if we could get some, developer commentary on this one to shed light on some things that might have been overlooked.
Yeah. So the code name for this trailer was Neuron, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. Is this pulse of electrical activity in your brain. What we wanted to do was tell a story of awakening. You'll see that in some of the key art that we have. We have this mini campaign line that's "Wake Up, John," which is really a message for hardcore Halo fans. Most people won't really understand that. And that's what's happening here. Chief's been asleep in cryo sleep for an important but undisclosed amount of time at this point.
Okay.
And something's going wrong. You can hear the muffled cries for help. They get clearer and clearer until we pop out into the cryo chamber. Chief wakes up, and typical Master Chief fashion, no hesitation, straight into action, trying to save the day. Now, if you played Halo 3 and finished on Legendary, you'll certainly start to recognize some of this stuff here. This is definitely the forward unto dawn. People have been asking us that. And at the end of the Halo 3 Legendary ending, you saw it approaching this strange, mysterious world. Well, it's probably not a big surprise to say that's what's happening here. What I can say is what this world is, or who's on it, more importantly.
All right. Guys, just a reminder that we are taking audience questions. If you want to use that little submit a question module on the side of the video player, we'd love to get some of your questions to have Frank answer those. We don't have any just yet, but so after you demoed that, or after you showed that trailer, tell me about what sort of response you've been getting from the game, because I know Halo fans are very eager. They're a very excited lot. Talk about the response that you've been getting.
I mean, obviously the response has been overwhelming. I think we would have had a really major surprise if we hadn't had that slight leak in the morning.
Right.
But it was funny to see a lot of people watching the conference who'd missed the leaks in the morning and maybe just caught up with the conference itself. And we'd set up our trailers as a kind of a head fake, right? We wanted to really celebrate the 10th anniversary with the anniversary edition. So everything in it, like from the monk chant all the way to the lines at the end, Cortana says, it's over, and the Chief says, no, I think we're just getting started, was really a head fake nod to the very end Halo 4 reveal. So the whole thing was set up kind of as not a joke, but definitely a very deliberate ploy to lull people in a sense of security that they've seen everything. So that's kind of part of what you have to do for E3 is you're putting on a show. This is a natural development cycle. It's showmanship, I guess. So.
Now I've been reading online that you guys are planning on doing something special at PAX this year. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's the 10th anniversary, and at PAX this year, for the full run of PAX, we have an entire floor dedicated to Halo Fest, is what we're calling it for obvious reasons. We're going to have tournaments, we're going to have contests, we're going to have some really cool objects from the Halo universe that we're bringing in especially. One of them is on a ship from New Zealand right now. We'll say more about that later. And we're going to have the fans, and that's really what Halo is and always has been about, is this incredible community that was a vibrant community before the internet, which is hard to do. There's people lugging Xboxes and TVs around the country for pizza parties. Right. So we want to celebrate it with them. We're going to have playable for the lucky few anniversary. We'll talk a little bit more about Halo 4, and we'll definitely reveal some more features about Anniversary that we haven't talked about yet.
All right, great. Sounds
cool.
good. Frank, thanks a lot for coming. Thanks a lot for coming by. We really appreciate it. For the folks out there who don't know, can you remind them when Combat Evolved Anniversary is going to be out in stores?
Combat Evolved Anniversary comes out day and date with the anniversary of the original launch, so it's November 15, 2011.
All right, thanks a lot, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. Now let's go see what's going on over at the THQ booth here on the show floor.